They say the forest doesn't forget. That's if you step off the path. Even for a second, you might find something that was never meant to be found. A few years ago, I did. I wasn't hiking anywhere special, just cutting through a stretch of woods I'd walked a dozen times before. It was quiet, peaceful, until I smelt it. It wasn't the smell of rot you'd expect out there. It was sweet, overpowering, like something sugary and chemical mixed with damp earth. It hit me hard, thick, heavy, and wrong. Curiosity got the better of me. I pushed through some undergrowth, branches scraping my arms, and that's when I saw him. He was lying there, half hidden beneath a tangle of leaves and vines. At first, I thought it was a mannequin, that weird grey-green tone of the skin, but then I saw the flies. And I realized this man had been here for a while. He was swollen, blackened in places, his body glistening with the kind of moisture you don't forget once you've seen it. Animals had been at him too, nature taking back what it always does. I stumbled back, gagging, but I knew I had to call the police. They told me to stay with the body until somebody arrived. Now, if you've ever been deep in the woods, you know how far away help can feel. It took over an hour for them to get there. The sun dipped below the trees and the forest changed. That's when I noticed how loud everything suddenly was. The wind, the creaking of branches, the buzz of insects feeding, and somewhere in all that noise, I swear I could hear breathing. At first, I thought it was mine, but it wasn't in rhythm with my own. It was slow, wet, gurgling. Every few minutes I'd flash my light towards the body just to make sure it wasn't moving. It never did, but the feeling that I wasn't alone never went away. When the police finally arrived, I could barely talk. They pulled me aside, asked me a few questions, and gently zipped the man into a body bag. One of the officers said it looked like suicide, hanging most likely. I remember staring at the spot long after they took him away. The rope burn on the tree, the dark patch of soil where he'd lain. That night I dreamed of him. He was standing in the same spot. Now only he wasn't decayed, he looked almost normal except for his eyes. They were sunken, black, and filled with something hateful. He didn't speak at first, he just stared. Then, in a voice that didn't match his mouth, he said, "You shouldn't have disturbed me." I woke up drenched in sweat, but the dreams kept coming. Every night for weeks. Sometimes he'd whisper things I couldn't quite catch. Other times he'd be screaming, furious that I found him. He told me things about himself, how he'd come there alone, what he'd done before he died, things that were never mentioned in the police report. And each night his message got clearer. You need to finish what I started. I tried everything, sleeping pills, therapy, moving apartments, but it didn't matter, because no matter where I went, he followed. I'd wake up and smell that same sweet scent in my room, that thick, sugary rot from the woods, and I'd know he was near. He doesn't show up as often now, maybe once every few months, But when he does, I always know before I see him, because I'll be walking alone somewhere quiet and that smell will hit me again. Sweet, heavy, wrong. And every single time, I know what comes next. The dreams, the voice, the reminder that I was never meant to find him. And after telling you this, I am almost certain I'll see him tonight. Two years ago, I made one of the dumbest decisions of my life. It was late, the road was empty, and I thought it'd be fine to pull over and take a nap. It wasn't, because that night something found me on that road and it didn't want me to leave. I'd been driving home from a family reunion, about a 2-hour trip through back roads surrounded by thick trees and overgrown bushes. The kind of roads that don't even have streetlights, just you, your headlights, and whatever's watching from the dark. I didn't stay the night because I had to be back at work the next day, so I figured drive slow, stay awake, make it home. But about 45 minutes in, that wave of exhaustion hit hard. You know that heavy kind of tired that doesn't build slowly, it just drops on you all at once? That was me. I kept telling myself I'd find a gas station or rest stop soon, but there was nothing, just trees and the occasional passing car. So I made a decision that, at the time, felt smart. I pulled over. I eased my car onto the grassy shoulder, tucked it behind a thick patch of bushes so it wouldn't be obvious from the road. It wasn't totally deserted, but cars only passed every few minutes. I remember checking the clock, 11:22 p.m, then I closed my eyes. Sometime later, I woke up. There was a noise outside my window. A faint scratching. Slow, uneven, like something's dragging against the metal of the door. I checked the time again. 11:50. The sound stopped after a few seconds. I was half asleep, barely conscious, so I just brushed it off, probably an animal, closed my eyes, drifted off again. Then it happened again. This time the sound was louder, persistent. It wasn't a one-time brush, it was deliberate. The clock said 12:40, almost an hour later. Something had come back. I froze, my eyes wide open, staring into the dark. My brain's trying to convince me it's nothing. A raccoon, a stray dog, anything. But there's this thought that just won't leave my head. Why would it come back an hour later? Slowly, I tilted my head towards the rearview mirror, and just for a second, a fraction of a second, I saw something. Something ran. It bolted from the side of my car, straight into the trees. Fast. My whole body went cold. My heart was thudding so hard I could feel it in my ears. And then a thought hit me. The stupid old urban legend my cousin told me when I was a kid. The hook killer. The one that scratches at lovers' cars before killing them when they get out to investigate. I remember whispering to myself, "Fuck that." I turned the key, floored it, and peeled out of there. I just wanted to get back to civilization. But then, Not even 100 yards up the road, I saw something that made me slam the brakes. There was another car, parked off to the side, driver's door wide open. No lights on, no movement. I slowed down, hesitating. The seat creaked under me as I leaned to look out the window. No one outside, no one around. That's when instinct kicked in. I checked my rearview mirror again. Nothing. Then, all at once, this man comes sprinting around the bend I'd just come from, out of the dark, straight toward me. He's waving his arms, screaming, "Hey, hey, get out. Get the fuck out of your car now." His voice cracked with panic, not anger, panic. But in that moment, it didn't matter. It was midnight, in the middle of nowhere, and some stranger was sprinting at me from the darkness. So I did the only thing I could think of. I sped the fuck out of there. I floored it until the road opened up, until I started seeing signs of life again. Streetlights, houses, a gas station. I pulled in, shaking so hard I could barely grab my wallet. When I looked in the mirror, my face was pale, eyes wide, and then I realized something. The guy's car, the one I saw back there, it was parked on the same side of the road where I had been sleeping, almost in the exact same spot. So now, sometimes I think about that night, about what I heard, the scratching, the man sprinting toward me. Was he warning me? Was there something or someone still back there by those bushes? I don't know, and honestly, I don't want to, because whatever was waiting for me on that road, it had already found me once, and I'm not giving it a second chance. Don't sleep on the side of the road.